The sky above Colonies 8-9 was burning. Human soldier Raylan crouched low behind a half-destroyed transport truck, his rifle steady in his hands. The ground shook again, a deep rumble that vibrated through his chest. Fire and smoke covered the once clean air. He could still hear the screams in his head from earlier, the evacuation, the explosions, and the sudden betrayal. This wasn't supposed to happen. The alliance with the alien race, the Terry, was supposed to keep the peace. Now it was war. Raylan peeked over the edge of the truck and saw movement, not human. Tari soldiers moved swiftly, their silver armor almost glowing in the smoke. They weren't just fighting back, they were hunting. Something had gone terribly wrong. He ran, his boots hitting hard against the blackened ground. He didn't look back. He only had a few seconds before they saw him. As he turned the corner into a collapsed corridor, he stopped dead. There she was. An alien girl, young, maybe his age, stood in the middle of the corridor. Her skin was pale blue, her hair long and silver, and her glowing green eyes wide with fear. She didn't have a weapon. She was just
standing there, breathing hard like she'd been running too.
They locked eyes. She raised her hand slowly, not in attack, but in fear. "Wait," she said, her voice soft but shaking. "Don't shoot." Raylan didn't lower his rifle. "Are you with them?" She shook her head quickly. "No, I ran away. I don't want this war." Something inside Raylan told him she was telling the truth. Her voice, her eyes, it didn't sound like a trick. Then she looked down at his wrist. Her face changed. Her eyes grew wide. Her mouth fell open. "You," she gasped. "You wore the bracelet." Raylan looked down. In the chaos, he had grabbed a strange band from the ground earlier. It had been glowing, beautiful, with alien designs. He thought it was just a tool, maybe a scanner. He had strapped it on without thinking. Now the bracelet pulsed with soft golden light on his arm. "You don't understand," she cried, taking a step back. "That bracelet, it's sacred. In Tiari culture, if a human wears it, it means..." Her voice cracked. She looked terrified. Raylan narrowed his eyes. "What does it mean?" She swallowed. "It means we're bonded. For life. You're my partner now." Raylan blinked. "What?" "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said quickly, hands up. "It was my family's bonding bracelet. I dropped it while escaping. You put it on. Now the bond is sealed. I can't take it back." Raylan didn't know what to say. Bullets were flying outside. Soldiers were dying. And now some alien girl was telling him they were married? Before he could respond, a loud roar echoed behind them. A Tiari hunter drone rolled around the corner. Its mechanical legs stomped forward, glowing eyes scanning for targets. It saw them both and charged. The alien girl screamed. Raylan didn't think. He grabbed her arm and dove behind rubble just as a blast of energy hit where they were standing. "We need to move," he shouted. She followed him without question. Together, they sprinted down a dark hallway, dodging falling beams and fires. The drone followed close, shooting plasma bolts that lit the corridor like lightning. Raylan ducked into a shattered control room and slammed the door shut. The drone smashed against it, but the door held for now. The alien girl was breathing hard. Her eyes were on the bracelet. "You don't know what you've done," she whispered. Raylan leaned against the wall, rifle ready. "You keep saying that. Then explain." She looked at him, her voice quiet and full of fear. "The Tiari won't stop. If they find out you wore that bracelet, they won't just kill you. They'll kill me too. The bond links our lives. If you die, I die." Raylan stared at her. "What are you saying?" She took a shaky breath. "I'm saying, whether we want it or not, you and I are connected now, forever." Outside, the sound of the drone grew louder. Inside, a strange silence fell between them. Two enemies. A war, a sacred bracelet, and a bond neither of them asked for. But now they had no choice but to survive together. The metal door shook again. The TRA hunter drone outside wasn't giving up. Raylan checked his rifle. Low power. He had maybe 5 shots left. Not enough to take down that drone. The alien girl sat in the corner of the ruined control room, hugging her knees tightly. Her silver hair fell over her face. She looked small, scared, but not weak. She kept glancing at the bracelet glowing on Raylan's wrist. "What's your name?" Raylan asked, breaking the silence. She looked up, surprised. Syrah, he repeated. "I'm Raylan." They nodded at each other like strangers forced to sit in the same lifeboat, even if they came from different worlds. "How does this bond thing work?" he asked, keeping his voice steady. "Is it just tradition or something more serious?" Syrah looked at him, then slowly pulled her sleeve back. There was a faint mark glowing on her arm, same shape as the bracelet. "It's more than tradition," she said. "The bracelet activates a living link. It reads our life signals. It binds our bodies and minds." "Mind link?" Raylan frowned. "Not full mind reading," she said quickly. "But emotions, pain, fear. If you die, I feel it. If I die, you will too." Raylan stared at her. "So we share life force?" Syrah nodded. "Yes. In old TRA belief, it's meant for bonding 2 souls forever. Only used once. Only with deep trust. You weren't supposed to wear it." Raylan gave a bitter laugh. "I thought it was a scanner." Suddenly, the bracelet on his arm flared gold. At the same time, Syrah winced and clutched her side. "What happened?" he asked. "I felt your fear," she said, her voice low. "It spiked." Raylan shook his head. "This is insane." They heard scraping outside the door again. The drone was drilling now. "We need to move," Raylan said. "There's a maintenance tunnel behind that wall," Syrah said quickly. "It leads to the old reactor level. We might lose the drone in the radiation haze." Raylan hesitated. He had no idea if she was telling the truth, but that bracelet bound them now. If she died, he would die. If he betrayed her, it could kill them both. He nodded. "Let's go." Syrah pulled a hidden lever, and a panel on the wall slid open. A dark, narrow tunnel stretched forward. Raylan ducked inside first, weapon ready. Syrah followed close. The walls were tight, wires hanging from above like vines. Heat and the scent of burnt metal filled the air. They crawled for minutes, the tunnel growing steeper. Then Syrah stopped suddenly. She placed her hand on the wall and whispered, "Wait, stop." Raylan froze. "What is it?" She turned her head slightly, listening. "I feel something," she said. "Not with my ears, with the bond. You're angry." Raylan gritted his teeth. "You're right, I am. Why?" She asked. "Because I came here thinking I was helping keep peace. I joined this mission to protect the treaty. And now, my people are dead, your people are hunting us, and I'm bonded to someone I barely know." He looked back at her. "Wouldn't you be angry?" Syrah didn't argue. She simply nodded. "I didn't choose this either," she whispered. "I ran from the TRA High Guard because they wanted to use my blood to awaken war machines. They said I was special, that I carried old blood. I never wanted that." Raylan looked at her again, this time with a different kind of silence. She wasn't just a girl who dropped a bracelet. She was running too, just like him. "Do you want to break the bond?" he asked. She looked sad. "Once joined, there's only one way to break it, death." They moved deeper into the tunnel. Suddenly, a loud blast rocked the passage behind them. The drone had found the tunnel entrance. "No time." Raylan shouted. They ran, sliding down a slope that led into a massive open chamber. It was the old reactor room dead for years, but still glowing faintly blue with radiation mist. The drone wouldn't follow them here. Its sensors would be useless. Raylan dropped to one knee, panting. Syrah stood beside him, her eyes wide. Not with fear now, but something else. She pointed at a large machine near the center of the chamber. That's an old Tiari forge. It reads, "Bonds. It might help us understand what kind of connection we have." Raylan stood, still breathing hard. Let's find out. As they approached the forge, the bracelet began to glow stronger. And this time, Raylan felt something strange in his chest. Not pain, not fear, but warmth, and he realized. He was feeling her hope. Syrah was right, they were connected now. And if they wanted to survive this war, they'd have to learn to trust each other, even when it felt impossible. Raylan stood in front of the alien machine, unsure what to do next. The forge was tall, made of dark metal that shimmered like oil. Blue lights moved along its surface like liquid veins. It hummed with strange energy, even after being silent. For years, Syrah walked forward slowly, her bare fingers brushing the side of the forge. As she touched it, the lights turned brighter. The bracelet on Raylan's wrist glowed again. He felt it pulse like a second heartbeat. This forge was built by the first Tiari, Syrah whispered. It was used to test true bonds. Only those who had pure intent were accepted. The rest it rejected. Raylan raised an eyebrow. Rejected how? She didn't answer at first. Then quietly, the bond breaks. And one of them dies. Raylan stepped back. You didn't say that part. I wasn't sure the forge still worked, she said quickly. But I thought maybe it could tell us how deep our link goes. Raylan looked at the glowing machine. His hands clenched into fists. Fine, let's do it, he said. Let's see what this thing says about us. Syrah looked at him carefully, her green eyes glowing faintly in the misty blue light. Are you sure? Raylan nodded. We don't have time to wonder. If this bond makes us enemies or allies, I want to know now. She took a deep breath and placed her hand on a crystal plate. Then put your hand here. Raylan stepped forward and placed his palm next to hers. The forge responded instantly. A shock of light burst from the center. The air crackled. The glowing blue mist around the reactor thickened. And then everything stopped. Time froze. Raylan couldn't move. He couldn't speak. His body felt suspended in light. Then suddenly, his mind was no longer alone. He saw flashes. A child Syrah, running barefoot through fields of glowing trees. Laughter. Her family. Her training. Her fear the day the Tiari government came for her. Then his own memories, like someone was turning the pages of a book he'd forgotten. His first day in space combat training. The friend he lost in the asteroid mission. His father's voice telling him, do what's right, even when it hurts. The lights swirled, blending them together. Syrah's voice echoed in his mind. This is the Forge's test. It shows the soul. It judges the truth. Raylan answered, his thoughts clear and steady. I didn't want this bond, but I won't run from it. Then silence, and the Forge spoke not with words, but with power. A beam of golden light rose into the air. From the bracelets. It formed a symbol, two halves circling each other, glowing with balance. Raylan could move again. Syrah gasped and pulled her hand back. It accepted us, she said, breathless. The Forge read our hearts. It says the bond is real. Raylan looked at her, still feeling the warmth in his chest. So we're partners now. For real, she nodded. Yes, you're now part of the Tiari life bond. Before they could speak more, they heard something sharp and dangerous above them, claws scraping on metal. Raylan grabbed his rifle and looked up. New drone, not like before. This one was silent, sleeker, with curved armor and glowing red optics. It had wings folded like blades, and it was descending slowly into the reactor chamber like a ghost. Syrah's face turned pale. "That's a seeker drone. What's the difference?" Raylan asked, aiming his weapon. "It hunts only one thing," she said softly. "Bonded traitors." Raylan's blood ran cold. The drone's eye locked on the bracelet, then on Syrah, and it attacked. Raylan fired first, hitting its wing. It staggered, but not enough. The Seeker launched a net of electric threads. Raylan jumped aside, pulling Syrah down just in time. The forge behind them exploded from the impact. Raylan rolled, taking cover behind a broken beam. Syrah crawled beside him. "The bond gives us a small advantage. If we move together, think together, it can guide us." Raylan blinked. "How do we do that?" "Don't think alone," she said quickly. "Feel, trust me." The Seeker charged again. This time, Raylan didn't aim with logic. He felt where it would move just before it did. He pulled the trigger direct. Hit to the drone's sensor. It screamed, flailing, sparks flying from its body. Syrah grabbed a power cell from the broken forge and threw it at the drone. Raylan shotted mid-air. Boom. The explosion shook the chamber. The Seeker was down, burning. Broken, twitching. Silence returned. Raylan looked at Syrah. Her face was dirty, her hair wild, but she smiled. "You felt it, didn't you?" she said. He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I did. They were bonded now." And somehow, it was starting to feel like strength, not weakness. But deep in the smoke, unseen to both of them, a signal blinked red on the drone's cracked cord. It had sent a message. The Tiari High Guard now knew exactly where their bonded traitor had gone. Asterisk. The signal had been sent. Neither Raylan nor Syrah saw the red blinking light fade from the ruined Seeker drone. They were too busy running again through the ruined passages of the old facility, deeper into darkness where Tiari scanners couldn't easily follow. Raylan's legs burned as he ran, but he didn't stop. He stayed close to Syrah, watching her every movement. The forge had revealed something powerful between them. Their emotions were now connected. Shadows of her fear passed through him, and when she pushed forward with courage, he felt that too. They stopped in a broken chamber, lit only by flickering emergency lights. Pipes hissed above them, and the air smelled of rust and heat. Syrah leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "The High Guard will come now," she said. "That drone was a Seeker. They never send just one." Raylan nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "Then we need to be ready." Syrah looked at him, her voice quiet. "Raylan, they won't try to capture us." He frowned. "What do you mean?" "They'll try to erase us," she said. "The bond you carry was never meant to be shared with an outsider. In Tiari law, bonding with another species is a violation, a crime against purity. They will not forgive this." Raylan's jaw tightened. "I don't care what their law says. I didn't ask for this bond, but I'm not going to die for it either." Syrah hesitated. "We may not get a choice." Suddenly, they heard footsteps, not machines this time, but soft, quick, and many. Raylan raised his rifle and pointed it at the tunnel entrance. Syrah stood beside him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. 5 figures appeared, Tiari soldiers in sleek armor, their faces hidden behind metal masks. They didn't speak. They just raised their weapons. "Down!" Raylan shouted, firing first. Syrah rolled behind a console, her hands glowing faintly with energy. She touched the ground, and a pulse of light knocked one soldier backward. Raylan's shots hit another soldier in the chest plate. He staggered, but kept coming. They're armored with phase shields, Syrah warned. Raylan ducked, reloaded, and shouted, "How do we stop them?" "Together." Syrah jumped up, tossed him a glowing energy cell. Raylan caught it, jammed it into his rifle, and fired. A blast of golden energy flew from the barrel, striking one of the soldiers and sending him crashing into the wall. Another soldier raised a plasma lance and charged. Raylan fired again, but missed. Then suddenly, he felt something like a warning from inside his chest. Syrah's voice echoed in his head, not as words, but as a sharp feeling. Left? Raylan spun just in time to block a second attacker and shot him at close range. The bond was working again. Within seconds, the rest of the TRE soldiers fell back, 3 down, 2 retreating, but not far. From behind them, a new figure stepped into view, taller, stronger, wearing deep violet armor lined with golden symbols. Syrah froze. No, not her. Raylan turned to her. Who is that? Syrah's face was pale. My sister. The armored woman removed her mask. Her face was like Syrah's, but older, sharper, harder. Her silver hair was braided in a warrior's twist, and her green eyes were cold like ice. Syrah, she said, you've shamed our bloodline. Syrah took a step forward, her voice trembling. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, her sister snapped. You bonded with a human. You polluted your gift. You are no longer TRE. Raylan stepped between them. We didn't choose the bond. But I won't let you kill her. The older sister's gaze turned to him. Then you will die first. She raised her arm and a swirling ball of purple energy formed in her palm. Raylan aimed his rifle, but Syrah stepped forward. Don't, she shouted. You'll trigger a soul backlash. If she hits you, I'll die. And if you kill her, I'll feel it too. Raylan lowered his weapon slowly. The sister laughed bitterly. You're already weak from the bond. Syrah stood tall, eyes glowing. No, I'm stronger, because I feel him. And he feels me. The bracelet on Raylan's arm pulsed bright gold. The sister's energy faded slightly, confused by the glow. Raylan took Syrah's hand. We'll find another way out, he said. But Syrah's sister wasn't done. She raised a beacon, threw it into the air, and it exploded in a bright flare. They know where you are now, she said. Run all you want. The High Guard is coming. And then she vanished into the shadows. Raylan and Syrah stood in silence. Above them, the flare burned red like blood. They had just survived the first attack. But now the entire TRE military knew they were alive and bonded. There would be no more hiding. Only running, or fighting, and the war was just beginning. Raylan pulled Syrah through a broken service hatch, and they tumbled into darkness. Behind them, the flare still burned in the sky above the ruined reactor. They had only minutes, maybe seconds, before the High Guard dropped an entire squad on their location. We can't stay here, Raylan said, panting. They'll trap this whole sector. Syrah nodded, her voice shaking. There's an old TRE launch bay nearby. It's abandoned, but if the ship inside still works, we can escape the planet. Raylan didn't argue. He followed her through the narrow passage, his rifle in one hand, the other gripping Syrah's wrist. He could feel her heartbeat through the bond, fast but steady. She was afraid, but still thinking clearly. That gave him strength too. They moved fast, dodging collapsed beams, jumping over fallen walls, until they reached a large rusted door. This is it, Syrah said, pressing her palm to a scanner. The machine blinked slowly, then opened with a loud hiss. Inside was a hangar, a wide open space full of dust and silence. But in the center stood a sleek, silver ship shaped like a falcon in flight. Old TRE symbols glowed along its wings. Raylan whistled. That thing still flies? Syrah smiled for the first time in hours. TRE design lasts for centuries. This was my father's scout ship. He hid it here after the war. They ran to the ship and climbed the ramp. Raylan checked the back, no traps, no guards. Syrah jumped into the pilot's seat and powered up the console. Lights flickered. Engines groaned. "It's waking up," she said. Suddenly, Raylan felt a cold chill in his chest. Not his own fear, Syrah's fear. He spun around. A black drone had followed them, slim, silent, hovering just outside the ramp. It fired. Raylan shoved Syrah down just in time. The blast hit the wall, scorching the metal. Raylan fired back, hitting the drone's wing. It spun, cracked into the tow ceiling, and exploded into sparks. Syrah's fingers flew over the controls. "Engines online. Hold on." The ramp pulled up. The ship rumbled, and then it rose. Raylan watched as they lifted out of the ruined hangar and burst through a crumbling roof into open sky. The stars above looked cold and endless, and they were free. For now, but their escape wasn't silent. Raylan saw a flash in the sky, several teary warships, sleek and deadly, turning toward them. "They're coming," he said. Syrah nodded, her face tense. "They won't stop until they break the bond. Until we're both gone." Raylan stared at her. "Then let's not make it easy for them." She smiled weakly. "There's a place we can go. A hidden moon called Vareth. My mother once told me it was a sanctuary for bondkeepers who broke from tradition. If anyone can help us understand this link, it's them." Raylan nodded. "Set the course." As Syrah punched in the coordinates, the ship jumped into faster than light travel. The stars turned into bright streaks, and for a moment, everything was quiet again. Raylan sat across from her in the main chamber. They were both covered in dust and bruises, tired but alive. "How are you holding up?" he asked. Syrah looked at the glowing bracelet on his wrist. "I keep feeling you. Your fear, your worry, but also your strength. It's strange." Raylan laughed softly. "Yeah, I feel the same. It's like my emotions aren't just mine anymore." She looked down. "Back there. My sister could have killed us both. She was always the strong one, the perfect soldier. I used to look up to her." Raylan leaned forward. "She's afraid. Not of you, but of what you represent. You broke their rules. That scares them." Syrah didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, "Do you think we'll make it to Vareth?" Raylan looked her in the eye. "As long as we stay together, we survive. That's what this bond is, right? Not weakness. It's power. Shared." Syrah gave a small nod, her eyes soft. But before they could rest, the ship's alarm screamed. Raylan jumped up. "What now?" Syrah looked at the console. Her face went pale. "They planted a tracker on the drone that followed us. We led them right to our jump path." Raylan cursed under his breath. "Can we stop the ship?" "No," she said. "We're already mid-jump. But I can change where we drop out early, off course. It'll be dangerous." He didn't hesitate. "Do it." Syrah slammed her palm onto the override. The ship shook violently. The stars twisted outside the window. Then dash darkness. The ship dropped out of FTL near an asteroid field. Engines sputtering. They were off course, lost, alone, but alive. Syrah fell back in her seat. "We escaped the high guard for now." Raylan sat beside her, watching the bracelet glow between them. No matter where they went next, one thing was clear. The galaxy was hunting them, but as long as they stayed bonded mind, heart, and soul, they had a chance. Asterisk, the ship floated in silence, surrounded by sharp, jagged asteroids. The stars beyond looked distant and cold. Inside the cockpit, Raylan and Syrah sat in the dim blue light, bruised, tired, and quiet. The ship's engines were damaged from the sudden exit from faster-than-light travel. They were no longer being tracked, but they were also drifting. Raylan rubbed his eyes. "How far are we from Vareth?" Sira checked the navigation. Still 2 jumps away. But we can't move until I repair the core stabilizer. If we jump now, we'll burn out. Raylan nodded. What do we need? Sira stood and pointed at a nearby asteroid field. The Tiari used to store emergency supplies inside some of those rocks. Hidden survival pods. If we're lucky, we might find one with a stabilizer crystal. Raylan grabbed his gear. Then let's go rock hunting. They exited the ship in sealed suits, drifting through space with small boosters. The silence of the asteroid field was eerie. Every movement echoed inside Raylan's helmet, and the only sound was the soft beeping of their scanners. They floated past lifeless stones, old wreckage, and fragments of ancient ships. Finally, one large asteroid gave a soft ping on Sira's scanner. Found something, she said. Buried just under the surface. Raylan floated beside her as she used a cutting tool to open the hatch hidden in the asteroid. A cold hiss of air escaped. Inside was a small Tiari survival pod covered in dust and frost. They entered the pod and searched the crates. Food, water, packs, tools, and finally, a glowing blue crystal. Raylan held it up. Is this it? Sira smiled. That's the core. With this, we can finish the jump. They turned to leave, but the asteroid shook. What was that? Raylan asked. Sira's eyes widened. It's unstable. The cut we made might have weakened the shell. A deep crack split through the stone. Go now. Sira shouted. They launched out of the pod just as the asteroid exploded behind them. Rocks and debris flew in every direction. A sharp piece of metal spun toward Raylan. He pushed Sira aside, but it slashed across his leg. He screamed. Pain shot through him. Inside his helmet, he heard Sira cry out too, not because she was hit, but because she felt it. The bond. Both of them tumbled through space, breathing hard, fighting dizziness. Sira reached him first, her hand shaking as she helped stabilize his suit. You're bleeding, she said. He gritted his teeth. I'll live. But I felt it, she whispered. It was like my body broke too. Raylan looked at her, breathing through the pain. That's how deep this bond really goes. They made it back to the ship and patched his wound. Sira inserted the crystal into the core. The lights brightened. The engines hummed again. Raylan leaned back in his seat, wincing. Set the coordinates for Vareth. Sira paused before punching in the destination. Raylan. There's something I haven't told you. He looked at her. What is it? Vareth is protected by a gate, she said. It only opens to those who carry the true bond. If we're not worthy, it will destroy us. Raylan raised an eyebrow. And you just remembered this now? I didn't think it was real, she admitted. It was just a story told by Tiari elders, but if it's true, we have to prove ourselves one last time. Raylan stared at the glowing bracelet. Then let's find out. The ship jumped. The stars stretched. Then the ship slowed near a dark glowing planet surrounded by a ring of floating stones. A giant structure hovered in space ahead of them, a massive gate, shaped like a pair of hands holding light. The gate pulsed once, like it sensed them. Sira placed her hand on the console. The bracelet glowed. The gate reacted. Runes lit up along its edges. Then silence. Nothing moved. Why isn't it opening? Raylan asked. Sira's face turned pale. It's reading us. Our bond. It's unsure. Suddenly, both of them felt a wave of heat deep inside their bodies. A test. Raylan gasped as pain hit his chest. Sira fell to her knees. It's testing our unity, our trust. We have to stay connected or we fail. Raylan reached out, grabbing her hand. His heartbeat raced, but he pushed everything else away. Fear, pain, doubt. He focused only on her. You're not alone, he said. Not anymore. Sira gripped his hand. Her breathing slowed. The bracelet flared bright gold. The gate answered. The hands opened, revealing a glowing path through the ring. They passed through and emerged into peaceful orbit over a beautiful green and blue moon. Raylan smiled. We made it. Syrah's voice was soft. Welcome to Vareth, home of the last bond keepers. Below them, a city shimmered in the light, ancient, hidden, waiting. But deep in space, the Teori High Guard had already picked up the signal, and they were coming. The ship landed softly on the green surface of Vareth. The sky above was calm, with twin moons glowing faintly in the distance. Strange birds flew through the misty air, and the ground was covered in glowing plants that lit their path. Raylan stepped out slowly, limping slightly from his leg wound. Syrah walked beside him, her eyes wide with emotion. I never thought I'd actually see this place. My mother always said it was just a story. They followed a trail through tall glowing trees. After a few minutes, figures appeared, tall, graceful tiari wearing long white robes, their eyes glowing with gentle light. These were the Bond Keepers' elders who had chosen love and trust over war and tradition. One of them stepped forward, an older female with silver hair and glowing golden tattoos on her skin. She looked at the bracelet on Raylan's arm and gave a small smile. You've come far, bonded ones? Syrah bowed her head. We seek guidance. The High Guard is hunting us. We didn't mean to form the bond, but it's real. The elder touched the bracelet gently. Yes, I can feel it. It is strong. Born not from ritual, but from sacrifice, fear, and truth. That makes it pure. Raylan stepped forward. Can you help us fight them? Or break the bond if it's the only way? The elder looked at him kindly. You do not need to break it. You need to understand it. Only then can you defend it. She led them to a temple built into the side of a glowing mountain. Inside, walls shimmered with light and history, paintings of Teori and humans together, bonded in ancient wars long forgotten. Raylan and Syrah stood in the center of the temple, where two glowing circles lit up beneath their feet. Hold hands, the elder said. They did. A surge of warmth filled the room. Light surrounded them, and their minds opened fully. Raylan saw her childhood, her fears, her loneliness after her father vanished. Syrah saw his guilt, his struggles. To prove he was more than a soldier, his longing for connection. Their thoughts became one. The light faded slowly, and they gasped in unison. You are now complete, the elder said. The bond is no longer unstable. It will protect you both. Suddenly, an explosion shook the ground. Alarm screamed across the temple. One of the younger bond keepers ran inside. Tari warships have entered orbit. They found us. Syrah's eyes filled with fear. My sister, she's here. Raylan looked at the elder. Can we defend the city? The elder nodded. We will fight. We are old, but not weak. And you too, you are our strongest weapon now. Moments later, warships descended from the clouds. Tari soldiers poured out, hundreds of them, weapons ready. The peaceful city of Vareth lit up as the bond keepers activated ancient shields and hidden defenses. Golden beams of light shot into the sky, striking enemy ships. Syrah ran to a command platform, her energy glowing brighter than ever. Raylan followed, rifle in hand, standing beside her. They fought together, not just side by side, but as one. Every time he moved, she sensed it. When she hesitated, he steadied her. Their bond allowed them to predict, to dodge, to counter. The battlefield became a dance between them, beautiful and terrifying. But then she came. Syrah's sister, armored in dark purple, dropped from a ship and landed in front of them. I warned you, she said coldly. You've betrayed everything we are. Syrah stepped forward. No, I've become who I was meant to be. The sister raised a glowing spear. Raylan raised his rifle, but Syrah stopped him. "I'll face her," she said, "not with hate, with strength." The two sisters fought clash after clash, light against shadow. Syrah's power surged with golden energy, her movements graceful and focused. Raylan watched, ready to act if needed, but trusted her. Finally, with one final surge, Syrah disarmed her sister and pinned her down. Breathing hard, she whispered, "I don't want to kill you, but I won't let you destroy who I've become." Her sister looked up at her silent, then nodded slowly. Raylan stepped forward, heart pounding. "Is it over?" Syrah helped her sister up. "It is now." The Tiari soldiers dropped their weapons. The bond keepers surrounded them, peaceful but firm. No more blood needed to be shed. Later that evening, under the glowing sky of Vareth, the bond keepers held a small ceremony. "You came as fugitives," the elder said, "but you leave as bonded champions. The galaxy may still fear you, but it will remember you." Raylan looked at Syrah, and she smiled. They were no longer just human and alien, no longer strangers. They were partners, bonded, survivors, and together they had rewritten the meaning of the ancient bond forever.